Okay, in this video we are going to talk about how to calculate year-over-year changes in economic data. If you haven't already, go back and check out the first three videos. The first one is going to show you how to pull data from the FRED database, which is what we're doing up here. And it's just going to be a good general introduction. And then part two, I showed you how to plot data, just the time series data. Part three, I showed you how to do month-over-month changes. And now we're going to do something similar, but instead of month-over-month, we're going to do year over year, and again we're going to be using Consumer Price Index, or CPI. This is a common measure of inflation, and so it's really common to look at year over year changes in CPI to see how much prices are rising or falling year to year. And this is, typically when you hear, oh, it's inflation's 5%, well, it's typically 5% relative to whatever month you're in compared to the same month the year before. And so if we do this by hand, let's look at January. This data is going back to the year 2000, so let's look at January of 2000. The CPI is 169.3, so we'll put this down here for just a moment, 169.3. And then in January of 2001, we have 175.6. And so what we would do by hand is we would say 175.6 minus 169.3. And then that would give us the difference between the 2 years, and then to put it into a percentage, we would divide by the initial value, and of course multiply by 100. And so from the year 2000 to 2001, January to January, CPI increased by 3.7%. So that would be a 3.7% year over year inflation rate. Okay, now we don't want to go through obviously and do that by hand for all of the data, so we need to set up a way to automate that process, which we're going to do here. So the data is sampled, as you saw, once per month, and there's really no clear way to group the months together to get, just within January, all of the Januaries in the data set, calculate this year over year change. So one of the things that we're going to have to do is we're going to have to add a column which pulls out the month of the data. So let's go ahead and do that first. So we're going to say CPI, we're going to set that equal to CPI, and we're going to use mutate again. And now within mutate, what we're going to do is we're going to call out a year, and year is going to be equal to the date that we have, so the date column. And I'm going to use this format call, and format is just going to pull in the date, and it's going to say format this date as the year that's within the date. Okay, so date is an existing column in our data set, and what that format's going to do is it's going to pull out the year on every row and assign it to a new column, and then we're going to do the same thing with month. So again, we're going to do format. Oops, didn't want to do that. Format. Again, we're going to pull in date, and we're going to say now instead of year, which is that capital Y, we're going to say month, which is a lowercase m. So we go ahead and run that. Let's take a look at what we have. So see, now we've got our year and our month, and you can see down here, now it's 2001, now it's 2000. If we scroll down, you'll see that's exactly what it did. It took, for the year, it took 2005, and for the month, it took whatever month it was. Right, so that's exactly what we wanted. Now what we want to do is group by months. So we want to take all of the Januaries, and then for each one we want to say, what was this January compared to the previous January. Right, so if you saw the month over month video, we're basically going to employ the same algorithm. So it's going to be CPI is set to CPI, and then we're going to group by month. So there's this great group by function where it says, okay, apply this next algorithm to each individual month, right? So January, and then February, and then March. So instead of doing month over month, now we're going to do year over year. And we're going to call mutate again. We're going to say year over year change is equal to, again, what we want is the value minus the lagged value. So this is, again, grouped by month. So let's say the first month it's going to take is January. So it's going to take all of our Januaries, and it's going to say take the value for the current January, subtract the January prior to that. That's what that lag is going to give us. This needs to be in parentheses, and then we're going to divide by that lagged value, and we're going to parenthesize that, and the last thing we're going to do is multiply by 100. Okay, so let's take a look now. So again, you're not going to have any calculations for those first 12 because 2000 was the first year that we pulled into this data set. So there's nothing before 2000, so you can't get a change from 1999 to 2000 because the 1999 data is just not in the data set. All right, but here's that 3.7 that we calculated by hand earlier, and that matches up, so that gives us some confidence that that algorithm's doing what it's supposed to do. Okay, now we've got year-over-year changes. Let's go ahead and plot these real quick. So again, we'll use ggplot, and we will pull in CPI. We'll give it the aesthetics of x equal date, y equal year-over-year change, and then we'll give it this theme like we've been doing, and we'll call in Geom segment, which is what we did for month over month. And let's take a look at that. Within that, we need an x end, which is date again, and we need a y, which we'll set equal to 0. That's the start of each y, and then we'll have y equal, or y end equal to year over year change. And then we will make this green, as we've been doing, 0, 0, 8, 0, 0, 0. Okay, and you're going to get a warning down here that says remove 12 rows. Those are the first 12 rows. It removed them because they're NAs, but again, they're NAs because we don't have the 1999 data. And so here you have it. Here's your year over year, and look at this. Look at our current situation. Year over year CPI is massive. You know, it's at levels again that we haven't seen since 2008. So we're at a high inflation rate right now. Monetary policy over the last year, plus the pandemic, and our response to the pandemic has just been, it's been terrible for all sorts of things. Unemployment's high, inflation's high. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy times out there. But that is how you would calculate year over year. I did it with CPI, but you could do this in the same way with any of the economic data, or you know, whatever other data that you pull out. You can pull out stocks and do the same thing. So yeah, that's how you do year over year, and hope you enjoyed. Thanks.